What's up, everybody? My name is Pretzel Pete, and today we will be talking about Linux. This is just part one of the series. Today, I'm just going to show you how the computer boots up and then the terminal. But the next part will be about the command. So this is just part one. So I made a small diagram showing how a system boots up in Linux. So let's just first is the power button. Sorry for the drawing. I know it's bad, but just stick with me here. So let's pretend we turn on the power of our motherboard. Sorry, computer. We turn on the power of a computer. The electricity gets sent to the motherboard starts to initiate, and it goes to a post check, which stands for power on self-test. And it checks essential hardware pieces to see if everything is working properly, and if it is, we go to the BIOS. Now, the BIOS is what works and stands for the configuration files needed for the system to load. So it will stand the SSD, NVMe, depending on storage, whatever storage you have. And it's looking for the boot file. It's looking for this file right here. And for Linux, the boot file is the grub file. And that contains all the Linux configuration files. Now, to show it to you, I have a VirtualBox that has Linux on it. Now, if you don't have this, make sure you get this. I have a video explaining how to download Linux machines on VirtualBox, so make sure you have this. But let's just watch all of the steps happen right here. So I'm gonna hit start and just watch, okay? It's going through all the processes, powering up. It just takes a few seconds. Okay, now watch the screen, okay? Yep, you see a grub file? It's loading the grub file, loading all the configuration files needed for the Linux machine to boot up. It's initializing it. You can see the boot sequence. All the files are being loaded. And then we get prompted into a login screen. So make sure you log in. Okay, now we're in the Linux virtual machine. This right here is called the terminal. This is where you'll be doing all of your commands. All of your hacking commands, all of that is going to be done here. So I'm just going to give you a quick um, summary of what's going on here, what's on the terminal right here. But part two will be Linux commands that we will be doing together. And then our lab will be this game called Over the Wire Bandit, where we will be testing our Linux skills. So first, let's just explain what is this right here. This right here is a Kali, which is a username right here. This is our username, and this is the host name of the machine. And to show you, let me just show you host name. We can type host name, and what's a host name? Kali. Now, you may be wondering, what is this field day? Like, what's this for? Well, this is to show where we are, and we are right now in our home directory. So in Kali, if you do pwd, which means print working directory, we can see that we're in home. So this is our user file, Kali. Oops. And to give you a better example of this, I know it's a little bit tricky first time getting into Linux because you don't know everything's in the terminal. So let me show you this on a Windows machine, okay? So when I'm talking about home Kali, so basically this is like kind of on your Windows machine. Let's go to Windows. You have this PC, you have our users, and here are the users right here, okay? And I'm in what users folder? I'm in users Noah folder. Now that's the same in Linux, but it's just all from the terminal. Now I'm gonna just show you one more piece, but this is part one of the series. I just wanted to show you how the system boots up and what's needed for it to boot. If you don't know computer hardware, I highly advise you to learn computer hardware pieces because it is super important to know how a computer boots up, what processes what processes are needed for a computer to boot up, and the steps that it takes for a computer to boot up. If you want me to make a video on that, comment down below, but we're right now starting a Linux series, so we won't be able to do that, but I can get in later videos explain how a computer boots up with all the computer hardware. Like I can explain each piece, but let's just focus on what we have here. Okay, so now I want to show you where all the files are located. Like how does where do all my configuration files load? So let's do CD, which stands for change working directory. Let's go back to the back one and let's do QWD again. Now we are in a home directory. Now, if we ls, we can see a username colleague. Just pretend like you're in a, pretend like you're here, okay? Let's just pretend we're here. We're in a Noah directory. Okay, now we're going back one, and then we want to go back to the main place where everything is stored. So that's what we're going to do, but on a Linux machine. So let's do cd and then dot dot, which says change working directory, but the two dots are not this one, but go back one more directory and hit enter. Now, this is the root directory. This is where all of your files are stored. So let's hit ls. ls stands for list current directory. So this is going to list everything that is needed for a Linux machine to boot up. So if you see this, you're in the root directory. So I did make a video on breaking a machine. I typed in this command, sudo rm rf root directory. So what is this doing? Don't ever type this into the command unless you want to, but this is saying sudo, which is super user. So I'm gonna grant elevated privileges. I'm gonna remove and then dash R for recursively, dash F, which stands for forcefully, like don't stop the root directory. And this is going to delete everything from here. All of these directories are going to be deleted. So if that ever happens, I do have a video on how to fix it, but I highly recommend that you don't do that because that will break your machine. Um, and that's pretty much it for video number 1. Now, if you want to go back to um your directory, like Macaulay up here, if you want to go back to home directory right here, an easy way to do that is just to do cd and then control. I'm sorry, not control. It's just shift, the shift key and the tilde, and it'll take you back to your home directory. And you can always check with the cwd command. You see, now we're in a home Kali working directory. This is just part 1. I will be making part 2 soon, and we'll be working on how to move around all of these files, how to change directories, which I showed you how kind of a little bit, but we'll get in depth on each command and what they do. Um, and I hope you liked this video. If you did, do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.